Hey, welcome back to the channel. My name is Josh and this is Working Man Reads. I hope everybody's been doing well. I am consistently tired because I'm back on nights, but I am so thankful to be able to make you guys a video here. What I wanted to do is not that mid-year freak out tag. I might put that as the title of the video just to hopefully draw some attention to my videos again. But I am just going to actually just talk about my top 5 favorite reads in the first half of this year. Now, obviously, it's July now, so if you're watching this in the future, I appreciate you as well. And please, down below, give me your top 5 reads so far this year because I need some more recommendations, and I'm always open to different genres. I'm very eclectic when it comes to reading, so I appreciate you guys. Without further ado, let's talk about some books. So these are going to be in no particular order just because I can't pick a favorite so far. At the end of the year, I think I might try to tell you my favorite top 3. But I've actually been having a great reading year. I've read 20 books so far. So if I stay on pace, that's 40 books. That's back pretty good for how many I normally read per year. I've had a couple down years the last couple years in reading. So I'm thankful that I've been reading so much this year. So we're going to start off with A Short Stay in Hell by Stephen Peck. I've been seeing a lot of people cover this one. I read it right in the beginning of the year, if I remember correctly, and it is wonderful. It's actually a take on a Borges, the Library of Babel story, and I love the emotion of this story. I love where the author took it. It was kind of bleak in sections, but then hopeful in others. And I just can't imagine as a reader, being sent to a hell where I got to find this perfect book that just describes my life in its entirety with everything being perfect. It's just a very interesting concept, and you really care for the the main character, and you're really pulling for him. So if you haven't read A Short Stay in Hell, it's a really quick read. You can probably read it in an afternoon, and the author is fantastic. I definitely want to check out further work from him. Next, we got The Old Man and the Sea by Ernest Hemingway. This year I've been focusing on trying to do some classics. If you don't know about me, I'm not super educated. I went to high school, and then I was in the trades for a long time, and then now I have a different career. We're not going to get into that too much here. Be mysterious. But I did switch up my life, and my entire life I've just been educating myself, and just really trying to broaden my own horizons. As a young child, I wasn't a great reader, so I made that like a challenge to myself to try to be a better reader. So I'm finally kind of tackling some classics. Now, The Old Man and the Sea is actually a reread for me. I read that when I was a young man. My mother gifted me a copy of it, and I read it, and I loved it then. And I think maybe the nostalgia, I just really enjoyed it. And now, as an older man, I took a different angle when reading The Old Man and the Sea than I think was my initial, obviously, as a young person. I got more of the story where this older gentleman is not ready to be put out to pasture, and he's really trying to succeed in the tasks that he used to be able to do. And then he kind of runs into a battle that is going to be tough for him. So I loved it. I love it. And it's Hemingway, so it's written great. Next, I read The Setting Sun by Osamu Dazai. I probably butchered that, but it's a Japanese fiction. It's translated into English. That's my first by this author, and not going to be my last. I love the sadness and the look at a feudal society as it's dying post World War II, and just this young woman trying to rebuild her life, and the deep sorrow and sadness of loss that she feels, and that the author can put into that story is brilliant, and it was a great read. So if you haven't read that one, I definitely suggest it. I'm noticing a theme that a lot of these are kind of sad. So hopefully you guys like deep, sad books. I'm not even a sad person. I just apparently I like reading about it. Next is Crazy Genie. I didn't put the author's name here because I can't pronounce it, but it's put out by NYRB. I read this one probably most recently, and I keep thinking about it. So I feel like it's got to be a top 5 for me this year. And it might be a top 5. Spoiler alert for the end of the year. Might be a top 5 book for me for sure. It's gonna be hard to top it. I love the short, choppy, like not choppy, but punchy chapters. Like I'm talking some chapters are a page long, but there's so much depth and sorrow and sadness in that one paragraph that you're like, what did I just read? Like there's just so much, like there's not a lot of happiness in it. So if you can't really handle like deep sorrow and sadness, like Crazy Genie's probably one of the saddest books I've ever read. So and I don't say that lightly. I've read a lot of sad books. I've read The Girl Next Door by Ketchum. I've read, Betty by Tiffany McDaniel. I've read Ron Rash's stuff. He's behind me here. He's one of my all-time favorites. So I'm no stranger to sad books, but it was very bleak and not a lot of happy stuff going on. And so next, just with Crazy Genie, quick little synopsis is she's a young girl, and you follow the main character of this young female in France, and her mother is basically just the town crazy lady. Like I mean, without putting it a different way, but there's more to her story, and that's kind of the beautiful part of the book, is learning that like maybe her parenting wasn't the best, but she was dealing with a lot of generational trauma. Unfortunately, she could pass it on to her daughter. And she has to really go through it in this book. Again, this is a pretty short one. You probably read it in a day. Next is Avenwood Exodus by Chad Lutzke. Now this is kind of different than all four. The 4 of the 5 are like literary fiction. This is more like a southern lit, more new age, because he's a small pub author or independent author. And Chad Lutzke has just always been one of my favorites. I used to read a lot of it, like Stirring the Sheets and books like that from him back in the day. They have a horror element. This has some horror element, but it's more of like a grit lit style. And it just really follows the lives of people in a trailer park. And I don't want to like diminish it by just saying that. There's a lot more to these characters and a lot more to the intertwining of their narratives. And Chad Lutzke really overdid it, or not overdid it, overdid himself. He just did a fantastic job. I can't talk frankly. I only got 5 hours sleep, but so that's my top 5 of the year. I did want to talk about 2 books that I've been working through that I believe I will probably finish by the end of the year here, and it will probably be in my top 5. So I wanted to just talk about those real quick. I've been reading Angel Down. It's going to be backwards because I'm on the front facing camera. But Angel Down by Daniel Cross is the most recent Pulitzer. I'm really enjoying it. I'm halfway through. I didn't bring it with me on my trip because I didn't want to ruin this. This is a first edition hardcover in case that matters eventually on my shelf. So I didn't bring it with me on vacation. But I've been tabbing. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, I've been tabbing a bunch, and I've been really enjoying it. And I don't really mind that it's one solid sentence. It doesn't really bother me. So I know that bothers some people, but the way that it's written has a lot of like page breaks, and you're good. Also, this is a big one. This is going to be like one of those lifetime reads where you're like, what did I just read? Where do I go from here? So the next great fish novel, I am reading Moby Dick by Melville. So I'm shocked at how easy of I don't want to say easy of a read because I'm only like 100 pages in. So take that as a grain of salt. But like the writing itself is not difficult. I think it's just how long it is. And then I've heard there's some chapters that get a little boring. But like, I mean, really, they're shorter chapters. So I would assume maybe this was written in like periodicals back in the day. But I just love this Penguins Deluxe Edition is just fantastic. It has the deckled edges, so I don't know how, I don't mind them. They kind of make it look kind of flashy, but I guess I could take them or leave them with the deckled edges. But if you don't know what Moby Dick's about, I don't know why you're watching my channel. I mean, even me, before reading more literature style books, I knew Moby Dick. I mean, we all know that story. So I even know how it ends. but it's more the process of reading it and really enjoying the writing. I mean, I've loved my journey so far in Moby Dick, and I know it's probably going to be one of my favorite books of all time. So I read The Old Man and the Sea and also Moby Dick. Apparently, I will read this here, so that's pretty interesting. Also, I have this, and I just got a. So this I've had on my shelf for. It's a Look Homeward Angel by Thomas Wolfe. I've had this one on my shelf forever, but I don't want to read it because it's like a super collectible. Like, it came with like a little pamphlet, and I think it's like there's only like 1,000 books of this in existence, and this is from like, yeah. So I just am not gonna read this one, but I got a reading copy of this one, and this seems like it's right up my alley because it sounds sad and bleak, and that's been my theme of 2026. Don't know why. But so I'll probably be reading that one as well, but just my Library of America or whatever one I got that's a reading copy. So again, thank you for coming by. I hope you guys enjoy your day, and until next time, this has been Working Man Reads. Peace.